As the lights come on now, 6 lights are on. Engines rev, and we're away. Big wheel spin from every driver there. It looks like everyone's got away nice and clean. Now let's see what Damien can do in 3rd position with the toe. What's George going to do? Is he going to try and tuck in, or is he going to hang it on the outside? It looks like he's got alongside with Alex Sprange there coming on the outside as well. And Damien Hall up the inside there, keeps his position. Is there any bumping? No, everyone seems to have cleaned, but Alex does run wide out there as George takes the lead, but Robbie has the inside line on the left here. Looks like George has got it, but has he run wide? He has, but I think he's kept it. A lot of people running wide there, as I mentioned before. Oh, there's a spinner there. It's George. He's gone down. I don't know if that was contact. It looked like it was. I think Robbie and George made contact as Robbie has got ahead now. There's a lot of door banging going on, but Damien is second as Luke Weston runs wide on the outside there. He's dropping down the order. So Robbie has got the lead. Damien's up to 2nd position. Jeremy's up to 3rd. Alex has stayed in 4th position as there's all kinds of running wide and gravel being kicked up as we follow Marcel here on the outside, making his way up. He started in 7th and is still 7th position. So as someone's run wide, that's Jacob, I believe. Yeah, Maximilian, sorry, has run wide. We're following Jacob now as there's contact between Jacob and George and Reza, all involved in that there. Jacob's tumbling down the order again. It looks like he's going to be able to recover. Marcel has also gone off there on the right hand side, so Mick and George recover a place as Reza's made the most of this, starting in 12th position. He's all the way up to 6th, although he's just dropped down to 7th position. So a fantastic start, making the most of everything that's going on. And you know, if you keep it clean, you're able to make your position up, as we've got quite a bit of a field spread already. The drivers in front are making a bit of a gap. Robbie's got a 1 second lead, and Damien a second behind him, and Jeremy as well as a second ahead of Alex. So the front 4 or 5 drivers who have managed to keep it clean after the first few corners have been able to break away already, and then it's tried to it's a recovery drive for certain drivers. Jacob, who we saw getting involved, Luke as well, who's qualified 6th, has dropped down to 11th position there, and Marcel, who qualified 7th, is down to 10th, and George, who is 2nd, has dropped all the way down to 9th. So let's track them, how they get on through the field, and there is always a positive of the reverse grid position. So we saw last round Luke making the most of that, and it looks like he potentially could do the same again from 11th position. So we're following Maximilian here. He's got Ricardo straight behind him. Ricardo had a qualified 8th position, is up to 6th position as there's some battling going on behind there. George has dropped down to 10th position with Mick there. So it looks like them two have made a little bit of contact there. So as we're following Ricardo still, this is the close battle on track at the moment. Ricardo will want to try and get past Max as quick as he can, as he shows his nose. Is he be able? That's not really an overtaking place, as he does nudge him, but looks like everyone's got okay there. Ricardo has pulled back and kept the position for Maximilian there, so that's clean and fair racing. We don't like to see push to pass here, even if a move is on or not. So Robbie Stapleford's 2nd clear, so Damien's keeping him in check. They're coming round to complete their first real flying lap, so it'll be interesting to see what the lap times are as Luke Weston makes his way up into 9th position. He's got himself ahead of George and Mick after their collision there. Marcel Cruz, as you can see in the background, sorry, that's George Grundon in the background. It looks like Luke's got a little bit of problems with terms of lag, so hopefully that won't cause too much of a problem for the other drivers. As everyone goes across the line and sets their fastest laps of the session. So Damien Hall was 4/10 faster than Robbie Stapleford last time around, as Marcel has got the run on Luke there. And keeps the position up on the inside. Robbie Stapleford, 2 minutes and 2 minutes 0.5. Robbie Stapleford, as I say, the gap is closing down. It's under a second now, 7/10 of a second. Damien with a 2 minute 0.1. Jeremy Gonzalez with a 2 minute 0.5 as well, and Alex Sprange in 4th position doing the same time as Robbie out front. Maximilian in 5th. Downwards, they're all in 2:01, so there's there's the top 4 positions that this could be a 4-way race, and it could be open to anyone. Obviously, we've got Damien and Jeremy and Alex who have got the tow, which will help them, as Ricciardo's desperately trying to get past Maximilian. The gap from Max to Alex is 2.5 seconds, so it looks like Ricciardo is being held up there. So Ricciardo will really want to get past Max as quick as he can and try and close that gap down. He's definitely faster. It's just a difficult overtaking around here. Although there's a lot of corners, a lot of them are quite fast, and there's no real heavy braking points where you can really make a move up the inside. What you want, so something like that where Max runs wide, loses momentum, and allows Ricciardo up the inside. But Ricciardo takes the cut back here and gives himself a run. The best position here is for Ricciardo would be to follow for the rest of the lap. We've got a couple more corners with the fast left-hander. Get a good run out of there down the long start-finish straight. Use the tow behind Max and hopefully move up the inside and take that position as the car's squirming under brakes there. Really pleased with Rez's movement at the moment. He's still in 7th position after starting 12th. He's made the most of the carnage at the start and is able to pull a gap. Actually, he's 2.5 seconds ahead of Marcel. As we can see in the background there, Marcel and Luke are still battling and changing positions, and that might be why they're not able to close in on Rezi just at the moment. Sorry. So the last lap around, Robbie Stapleford has responded. He's put it into the 1:59.9, so he sets the fastest lap of the race. Damien Hall with a 2-minute 2, so Damien pulled 3 tenths. Robbie pulled 3 tenths on Damien. Jeremy's a 2-minute 0.8. And Luke with a 2-minute 0.9. So a lot of drivers second lap around were actually slower there, as they're still battling Luke and Marcel. We saw a great battle between these two. I think it was at Hockenheim, where they spent most of the race side by side. And whilst I'm sure both drivers are wanting to try and pull clear and set a lap time, the fact that they're able to do this racing contact free is great, and I'm sure that that by the end of the season they'll know each other inside out in terms of their strengths and weaknesses. So we're following Ricciardo here. He's still stuck behind Maxi, and Maxi's now dropped a further second back from Alex, so the gap's 3.7 seconds now, as you can see. So it'll be good to follow Ricciardo as Alex is making a move on Jeremy. He had a bit of a squirm there coming out of the last corner. Sorry, not the last corner, but coming out the right, as he misses his braking point and runs wide. There's a few different lines through that corner. You can go in deep and almost do a V shape and get on the power earlier, but you lose time on the initial part of that corner. So you'll see a few drivers looking like they're running wide when they're not. As you can see in the background there, Ricciardo and Marcel. Maximilian and Ricciardo. So it's half a second the gap there. Is he close enough to be able to get a tow? They both make the corner exit quite nicely. No one's run wide onto the curb. And Marcel Cruz he's had an incident here. So he's dropped behind not only Luke but behind George Grundon as well. So the two teammates there in 9th and 10th position. Nothing appeared on our screen in terms of contact, so it may be that there was a mistake. But Marcel is now trying to get back in front of George, as there's a little bit of bump drafting going on there, as I think as Mick Sutton and Jacob improve on their fastest laps as well. So it's all quite close in the midfield here. Great racing all the way through the field. Damien has lost another 3 attempts to Robbie last lap around, so the gap's out to 1.4 seconds. And Jeremy's dropped back as well. Alex is still all over the back of Jeremy, as is Ricciardo on Maximilian, as George goes around the outside, loses the inside. Okay, we should keep the position actually on the inside there. That's a fantastic move if he can put it. Luke just touches the grass there, which will lose him a little bit of momentum. And it's a great racing there by George, trying to recover from his bad start there. So he's up to 8th position. So fantastic move round the outside. I think that will probably be move of the day at this rate. Fantastic move, nice and early, kept it clean. It just took Luke on the brakes on the first part of the corner there, so great. And as you can see, the gap to Reza has closed as well, as these drivers, the pack will probably close in and overtake George, as George already sticks it up the inside there. As you can see, that's the difference between the two lines, and Reza did very well there not to cause a collision. Reza took a tighter line and George didn't, and as the cutback, you often see a bit of collision as one driver is not expecting the other car to be there. So great bit of racing as Luke now goes up the inside of Reza before the long start and finish straight. We can see some track limit warnings as Reza's run a little bit wide, as Luke's already up the inside, so he'll take the momentum. So there's a bit of door banging there, but that's okay. They've both got away with that. Reza will try and tuck in now behind Luke and get a tow and recoup any lost speed. Jeremy's gone. Oh, I was about to say Jeremy's just overtaken Alex, but he's must have missed his braking point there and one wide. That's going into turn 1, I believe, as Ricardo and Max and Jacob are all racing now. So Ricardo's still stuck behind Maximilian, but it's great that it's clean racing going on, and obviously Jeremy is now in the mix, and Jeremy will want to try and recover as quickly as possible. So let's keep an eye on how this goes. There's a little bit of bumper and door banging, which is fine. The drivers aren't affected by this. So Ricardo's in a classic do I attack or do I defend position. He shouldn't offend anyone from there. So it will be great. It's a tough choice whether he lets Jeremy through and Jeremy tries to open the door, or whether he tries to keep them behind. And as Max runs a little bit wide there as well, coming up to the second half of the lap. So Robbie Stapleford, again, another fastest lap, 1:59.7. It's another 3 tenths on Damien. So the lap times from Damien and Robbie are relatively close, but each lap Robbie's pulling out a few tenths or so. The gap opened up is 4 seconds from Alex as well. As Ricardo's going around the outside here, that will be a very, very good move if you can pull that one off. He's got you can't leave the door open, otherwise that will allow Jeremy just to come through, and there's we're coming up to the last corner now. So Ricardo's been following and seen enough of that back of the car as he squirms under the brake there, and Jeremy almost makes contact with him, which would have probably put Ricardo off. So great bit of realisation there from Jeremy and slammed on the brakes. Now this is probably the closest we've seen Ricardo. He's come outside of the tow already, so he must be far enough alongside, and he's effectively side by side, but he's also giving Jeremy a lovely tow. It's who's going to be on the brakes. So Ricardo is ahead, but Max will have the inside line. It's close. Can he hang it around the outside? No, he can't. He's had to give it away and tuck back in, but he's got the cut back as well. But again, we'll be on the outside here. Can he replicate what George did? No, he can't. But Max does run wide. So again, Ricardo's going to have another cutback. But he also takes too much of the inside curve, which has unsettled the car and has allowed Jeremy alongside, and a little bit of elbows out there, but and forces Jeremy onto the grass. So this is some great racing here. The gap from first to second is 2.6 seconds now, with Alex Range dropping back to 4.3 behind Damien. So this is I think Alex has almost cemented his third place here with these guys all battling away. It's obvious that Ricardo and Jeremy are faster than Max, but Max doesn't have to get out of the way. He's not that far. He's not that much slower that he's slowing these drivers up too much. As Ricardo goes for a great lunge around the inside, up the inside there, bit of door banging, forces Max wide as Ricardo also backs off, and I think Max is taking back the position from Ricardo. So very, very sporting there from Ricardo. Not only does he lose a lot of time giving the position back to Max, but he also loses the fourth position as Jeremy is able to get through. So that's what we really like to see. There was no intent there from Ricardo. He saw a gap and went for it. Unfortunately, Max closed the door and there was contact, and Ricardo would have been at fault if there was a protest against him. So by doing that, both drivers lose a little bit of time, and Jeremy's able to get back through. But that's what we like to see at this level of racing. Marcel's dropped off the back of Luke there. Luke and George are now the ones that are battling together. Marcel is 2 seconds behind. The gap doesn't look quite as long, but when the straight's so long like that, you can really see the gaps. Fortunately, Rez has dropped down to last position. His last lap was a 2:15, so I'm not sure if he's still got some brake pedal issues or whether he had a mistake there. So Luke Weston is probably still spitting that he was allowed someone to overtake him on the outside there. So he's showing himself on the outside to try and, I'm sure, answer back and give himself another position back. So Robbie Stapleford did a 2-minute 1.5 last lap around, so over a second slower than Damien. So it looked there must have been a mistake there from Robbie. As you can see, the gap's down to 1.5 seconds. So we'll have to see what Robbie does next lap around. I mean, there'll be no damage to his car, so it must have been a mistake. But that gap has closed down, and I'm sure Damien can smell Robbie now, and he'll be pushing even harder now than he has been before. Damien's last lap is a 2-minute flat, so there's a little bit of time left in Damien from what we saw in practice as well. Alex Sprangers has dropped off, so he's 5 seconds behind Damien in second position, but has also got a 5-second gap to Jeremy in third. So Alex should have that third position wrapped up, providing he doesn't make a mistake. The gap seems to have levelled out now. It's still about 1.5 seconds, so Damien's not letting Robbie get away now. Robbie will be giving Damien the tow as well, all the way back down the straight. There's no back markers involved, so there shouldn't have been any problems there for Robbie. So let's see what the lap times are as they go this time. So Robbie responds with the fastest lap of the race with a 1:59.6. Damien Hall as well gets his fastest lap of 1:59.8. So definitely a mistake from Robbie there. And what better way to answer your mistake by setting the fastest lap comfortably. Jeremy Gonzalez sets his fastest lap of the race with a 2:05 as well. And Maximilian as well. So everyone's starting to set their fastest laps. As Ricardo once again fighting with Maximilian on the outside. As Max runs wide, we saw Max take the inside line. He's took a little bit of a too tight line, missed his braking point potentially, and Ricardo will be delighted to see the back of Max after some fantastic racing, good clean racing for the majority of it. So let's see now what Ricardo can do now he's free from Maximilian. His last lap around was a 2:09, so let's see if that improves, just to see how much more pace that he has got in the car, because that would be good for his second race knowledge there. So Luke and George are also still battling. Luke has been in a battle with either Marcel or George all race long, so it's great to learn. It's a great way to gain experience by battling. You can learn a lot from sim racing if you did go down the real racing route as well. You can learn when to attack and defend, and racing lines and cutbacks and everything like that. So it's great for these guys to be able to battle, and it's cleanly. And as you can see, George and Luke have now closed in on Maximilian after his going off in turn 1. So that gap's now down to a second. So it'll be interesting to see how George carries on and gets through, whether he's able to get through past Max quicker than what Ricardo did. We expect George to be quicker, given that he qualified on second position, so I'm sure he'll be able to try and make a move on Maximilian quite quickly, and it's just whether Luke will be able to make the most of that and follow him through. We've got Reza in 12th position, so he's dropped down still, which is a shame. His pace is back onto where it was before, so that was a mistake that's dropped him down, unfortunately, to last position. So we've got just over a minute and a half to go. So Robbie Stapleford again sets another fastest lap of the race, with Damien Hall dropping back a bit to a half a second. So that gap's extended out there. So you should see that Robbie will probably be able to maintain that again as we go to the last few laps. So Robbie is halfway through this lap. He'll be able to finish this, and that will probably be we're probably on the penultimate lap now as we speak. So Jacob there in 11th position sets his fastest lap of the race of 2:02.1. So it's very, very close racing in the midfield. It's been great to watch. Alex Sprangers had a pretty much a lonely race really after race 1 settled down. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Following on from his win, race 2 at Brands last weekend, so he's got he's third in the championship at the moment. So Ricardo Spratt, who is in second position in the championship before the start of the race, he's in 5th at the moment. So Alex has been able to take a few points out of that, and Alex could possibly be up to second in the championship after race 1. And after race 1, we are officially halfway through the season. So we are in the closing run from race 2 onwards. We've got 13 races to go. A flash of the lights there from George on Maximilian. So George clearly feels that he's faster than Max, as Luke's dropped off a little bit there behind George. So yeah, we're on the home stretch after this. We've got another 2 rounds of 2 races, and then the final race at Spa is a 1 race 60-minute 60-minute race. So that'll be very, very interesting to see how drivers cope. We think there's going to be a pit stop involved and even maybe a tyre change, although the tyre wear is quite low over a 60-minute race at Spa. That could be different. So George's got a great run on Max here. They both set the fastest laps of the race. Can George do another move around the outside? He's just ahead at the moment, as you can see on the timing frames, but Max will have the inside line. George has got the cut back, and Max once again drum wide. He's not run off the circuit this time, but he's run far enough wide to allow George up the inside. George defends the position there, and looks like he's going to be able to keep that and stay in 6th position. He's got 2.5 seconds to catch up his teammate Ricciardo. Don't think he's going to be able to do that, given that they're on the fastest lap. And Robbie Stapleford he's got about 5 or 6 corners left to go. So Robbie is slowly eking out that gap to 3 seconds. So relatively comfortable race for Robbie once again. He keeps up his streak of winning the first race of the day with fastest lap. But yeah, we'll have to speak to him about what happened in for him to drop that gap down. I'm not sure he's intentionally inviting Damien to make a move on him. I'm sure Robbie wouldn't want to do that. So it would be great to see how Robbie can make his way through the field again. The lap times are quite close throughout the whole field here, so I don't think it's going to be quite as easy maybe as it was at Brands or at Imola the week before. So he comes out the final corner now, keeps it on the track, and comes across the very, very long start-finish straight to take win number 5 of the season. And nicely, so as you have Damien Hall in the background there as well. Great race from Damien, and again another solid position. If he hadn't have missed Imola, I think he would be a very, very strong title contender here. So as you see, Jeremy crosses the line in 4th position. Ricciardo stays ahead in 5th. George in 6th position. Max in 7th. Luke closed the gap there in 8th. We've got a little bit of racing here at the last lap. Mick Sutton up the inside of Jacob, and it's a sprint to the line. Who's going to get it? When is that start finish straight? You can see the line there. It looks like Jacob has just got it on the line. That was incredibly close between those 2 drivers there. As we see Reza coming through the last corner as well. So Reza rounds out the top 12, but we'll make the most of this and we'll start on pole position for race 2 of the day. So a very fascinating race there. Great action in the midfield. We'll speak to our top 3 in just a moment. But we'll run through the positions. There's Robbie Stapleford in 1st position with the fastest lap as well of a 1:59.6. Damien Hall is in 2nd position. Alex Brange 3rd. Jeremy in 4th position. Ricciardo Spratt in 5th. George Grundon, a recovery drive from 6th position after starting 2nd. Maximilian in 7th, having a great race with Ricciardo and George. Luke Weston 8th. Marcel Cruz in 9th. Jacob Mostowski in 10th. Mick Sutton in 11th. And Reza in 12th position. So let's speak to our top 3, and we'll start with Robbie Stapleford. Hi, Robbie. Another, I would say, start to finish race, but you did drop back to 2nd just for a little bit there, and another fastest lap point for you. So a little bit going on for you in that race there. I think we didn't quite see it on the stream, but did you have a coming together with George early on?
Yeah, just understeered a bit and then couldn't stop the car and just understeered and touched the side of him, and then I don't know what happened after that. I think he just spun off the track by himself, but I'm not sure. but unlucky to him, it would have been a good battle between us two, and I'd apologise if I did overthink, but yeah, just I didn't really get the greatest of starts, and I just kept understeered at the first corner, and then he just got switched back on me, and then
Yeah.
as the race carried on, I just started to pull a gap at Damien, and then I started setting fastest laps towards the end, and then yeah, just went even quicker towards the end, and then pulled it home.
We saw, I saw. We saw in the timing that you dropped that back halfway through the race. I think you set about a 2-minute 1.5. Did you make a mistake or anything? Because it allowed Damien to get almost within a second of you.
Yeah, just ran a bit wide coming round. I don't know what corner it is. The quick, like double right after the left, and then the right somewhere there. Just ran a bit wide and just touched the gravel, and then yeah, just lost a bit of time to Damien, and then just started to crawl it back.
Yep. So the lap times aren't majorly different between Damien, Alex, and Jeremy, and even George. So, how do you think you're going to be able to get through the field this time? It seems I don't think it's going to be quite as easy as maybe other races.
No, it ain't going to be as easy as Imola. There isn't really any overtaking places besides this first corner here, I don't think, because it's quite fast flowing. The middle sector and the last sector is so. We'll just have to see, and then the opportunities hopefully come. And I'll just won't be taking any risks overtaking, and just hopefully I get through. But I'll just get through slowly and without any incident.
Congratulations, Robbie. Great racing, and we possibly will speak to you after race 2.
Yeah, cheers, Scott.
There we go. Let's grab a word with our second place position now. Damien Hall. Damien, you made your way through your field a little bit there, made the most of some of the collisions going on early. How was your race overall?
It could have been better, but I can't complain. I wish I put on a better show for you guys, but it just couldn't get close enough to Robbie.
Yeah, we just spoke to him. He made a mistake halfway through the race. I'm not sure if you noticed that the gap closed down quite a chunk, but then after that set 2 fastest laps by nearly half a second. So yeah, I think it was good racing for everyone, and I think it was. Yeah, well, what do you think your plans are for race 2? Do you think you'll be able? Have you got a target in mind in terms of where you want to be?
For sure, I'm aiming for the podium. Just trying to keep out of trouble.
Great. Congratulations for another podium position, and we'll possibly speak to you after race 2. And we'll just grab a word with Alex, who is our third place finisher. Alex, it was a pretty lonely race for you, really, after the race settled down. Yeah, you had a nice gap behind you, but couldn't keep up with Damien.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Obviously, I don't have the pace just yet to keep up with Damien and Robbie ahead. But yeah, I was lucky. It was lucky I got a bit of a move on Jeremy, and he just made a small mistake, and then yeah, I could just bring it home in third.
What's your actually? I'll let you go because I think the race is about to start. But congratulations, and hopefully we'll speak to you after race 2.
Cheers, thank you.